They call it a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution. If there's not a lot of diversity somewhere, that means you're not putting a lot of effort to get that diversity. I'm not coming out here to bash Falwell, but feeling kind of a little bit like an outsider. Not allowed to wear shorts or sweatpants in class. I don't feel smart enough for college. I don't feel mature enough for college. So I'm gonna do a little take for you close friend story. Honestly, like being my first day here, I'm gonna say that I feel like the stereotype of liberty is not true. Should I get my mic out? I feel like I should get my mic out. One moment. I think that people are often like, oh, it's just a bunch of Trumpies, or it's like very, very Christian. But I think that's not true because, first of all, it's a D1 school. So even like my parents think it's very sportsy. Like it's a huge school for a Christian university. And I feel like it's a perfect balance between, maybe not perfect, but there's a lot of schools that are like Christian, not really Christian. And then there's schools that are like borderline cult. And I feel like Liberty's the medium, if that makes sense. And obviously there's like Trumpies and anti-vaxxers and whatever it might be, but they're also like more, I don't know, middle ground people. I don't know what I'm saying. And it's more diverse than like Cedarville or whatever. Like I see a lot of black people. It's still majority white, but it's more diverse. Yeah, that's that. I decided why not do a little discussion on my thoughts while I'm here. I'm going to take off my glasses because I'm not supposed to use them with my phone. And since I'm alone, I will take off my mask. My whole life, I guess I've always seen college students as so much more older, more professional, bigger, more mature, smarter than myself. And I thought that, of course, one day I would get to that point. And now it's here. And I don't feel, as tall or smart or old as mature as them. And so it's really weird visiting and kind of almost experiencing college, but feeling kind of a little bit like an outsider. And also like, yeah, I like it, but like, I don't feel ready for it, My mom's like, you can take a gap year, but I'm like, I don't want to take a gap year. I still want to go on with, everything. I just don't feel ready. And I know I still have a few months left of school, but it's just like, I don't know. It's weird. And so I'm sorry, I'm not keeping good eye contact. I don't know. It's a different level. It's a whole new level. And I don't want to be like above high schoolers, Like I feel like a high school student. I always feel and relate more to high schoolers. So to be going from that to being in college, you're suddenly above your peers, or I guess they aren't your peers anymore, but you feel above the people that you are more comfortable with. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if you get it, but I don't know if I'm ready to be at that totally new level than I am and was. When it comes to the school, I do like the school. It's pretty big and complicated, but I feel like I've figured a lot of it out already at this point. And like, I didn't even talk about like the Center for Diversity, Inclusion, whatever. It's really important to have, they call it a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution. Really important to have, and I think they're really trying to expand and try to keep diversifying the school. Lots of different groups of minorities, and I think that's a really important program that Cedarville doesn't have. And Cedarville is not very diverse. It's 80% white, over 80 I think. It's just, I really like that, and I feel like you can find a little like haven in there and meet a lot of other people who kind of feel the same way that you do in some terms. I went to school mostly around white people, grew up around them, so I'm used to it, but it's still good to have, your own community around you and meet and see other people. So it's really nice to have, and I'm glad that they have it. And they also have like disability services, but I haven't gotten diagnosed yet, so I can't do anything about that. But really need to see a psychiatrist for ADHD. And then everything else I like. I think that's pretty much it. The school gets a lot of hate. Honestly, a lot of it's not true from what I've experienced and been there twice. So don't judge something that you haven't been to or understand, or what people's stories of it are. A lot of them are false. Today, no school is expected to be perfect. You're going to go to school with people that you don't like and don't agree with, wherever you go. And that technically is a good thing, because you should be challenging yourself and seeing, how do I relate to people that I don't agree with? Why do I not agree with? How can I convince them to believe in the rights that I believe in, and also, I grew up in not very diverse spaces, so like honestly it's more diverse than probably anywhere that I've been, which is kind of sad, but I mean it's fairly diverse. And I grew up with a lot of rules in schooling, so I mean this is a lot looser than what I grew up. I'm wearing my Liberty shirt today, so I was like, you know what, instead of doing my schoolwork or editing like I'm supposed to do, why not I finish my rant? So no one requested this video, but I had said in my cfaw vlog, if you wanted me to talk a little bit more about liberty and my ideas and thoughts and growing up, then I'd make a video on it. But yeah, not as many people saw it as I thought. Like not as many, but you know what? It's okay. It's one of my favorite videos, like my favorite video that I have on my channel right now, and I'm really proud of it. I spent a lot of time editing it. My computer overheated every single time I worked on it, but I'm super proud of it. And I still like go back and watch parts of it that I really like. No one asked for this, but I still want to make a video so that I can have my thoughts to look back on how I felt. Now I'm not wearing my glasses. My phone is kind of far away, so I can't really see my face that clearly because my vision is very bad. So if I'm not making eye contact, then I'm sorry. Wow, I look absolutely horrid. What is with my skin? Awful, 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 awful. All right. Let's get back into it, shall we? Okay, I don't really have any organized thoughts, so I'm just going to be speaking. A few weeks ago, actually, I was like settled, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to go to Liberty, right? And then I was like, this is terrifying. Like, not only going away from home, my life completely changing. No matter what, my life will never be the same after I leave home. And I hate change. I hate growing up, all that. So the fact that like I'm not gonna say I love my life now, but I'm used to it. Like, I've never been to college. I've never been away from my parents for more than a week, So I'm like, I don't know. Basically, I don't know how to function, Like, how is life gonna be? And then when you come home, it's gonna be totally different from how your life used to be. I don't have the normal routine of waking up and making breakfast downstairs and going back to my room, doing my schoolwork, being alone. I'm alone way too much, but still, I like being alone. And I'm not gonna have that. I'm gonna be surrounded by people 24/7. That sounds like hell. I like people, but not that much, So the fact that I'm gonna be away from that was really scary for me. The fact that I'd be in that big campus, which honestly, the idea of the campus being big isn't scaring me as much as it was before, because I know that if you have a friend group, it'll feel a ton smaller. And I've talked to quite a few people through the LU 2026 account already, so hopefully I'll be able to talk to them and see them. I'm not gonna say like that they're gonna be my best friends or whatever, but I'll still have someone to like say hi to, talk to when I first get there. Then I found out like move-in day. The earliest move-in is on Wednesday, which I will be participating in because the LU Center for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity has an early move-in on Wednesday. But classes start on Monday. You don't even get a whole week. I thought you got a whole week before classes start. There was something else, just like growing up, the idea that I'll be in college. I don't feel smart enough for college. I don't feel mature enough for college. I still don't, but I mean, fake it till you make it, you know? I can still be the little immature Kumi and also be mature. I have a balance, you know? I'm not saying I'm all immature. I just feel like everyone, first of all, I feel like sometimes everyone's faking. Everyone's trying to be old and mature in college, and some people really are and some people aren't, but you can't tell because we're all trying to be like each other because we all think that's how we have to be. And some people are actually like that. It just really depends. So it's like, it's really difficult for me, but I think I overcame that basically saying like, this is a step of faith. I just have to believe that it's going to be okay. I want to go to college. I don't want to take a gap year. 2026 is a much better graduation year than 2027. No offense to any year 2027 people, but I like even numbers. I would have to wait till 2028, and that sounds way too young. Also, I don't want to be in class with like people 2 years younger than me, 1 year younger than me. No offense, but I'm 2020. Those 2005 and 2006 babies scare me. Anyways, this is a moment where I become that corny Christian already. It's embarrassing. But I did have a little talk with my man Jesus, you know, and we talked. And there was something that I felt that I wanted to share. So if you don't care about it, you can skip, but I'm going to share it. I wrote this 10 days ago, actually. Today's the 14th, my mom's birthday, and I wrote this on December 4th. And here's what it says. I don't think faith is the opposite of fear. I think faith is choosing to act in spite of your fear, not letting your fear paralyze you, but using it to fuel you. As crazy as it sounds, because in action, it can seem terrifying. The idea of going to college seemed terrifying, made me want to literally barf. And the way that anxiety and my anxiety goes is that it comes and goes. I had it really bad in April before visiting Liberty, feeling the idea of going to college was just so scary and far away from me. And I don't think it's gone forever. It'll probably come back before move-in day or in the end of summer. But it comes and goes, and I have reminders to help calm myself, but you know, it's still terrifying. I just don't feel that terror right now. In action, it can be terrifying, but if faith isn't even a little scary, is it even faith? Faith should be scary. If you know that you're making a decision and you have no fear or security in it, it's not really faith, it's just a decision. You shouldn't have all the answers or have it all figured out because that isn't faith. You don't have to be ready. God will make you ready. That's what faith is, I believe. Not a lack of fear, but choosing not to let fear paralyze you. So with that revelation, I was like, okay, so I can't let the fear paralyze me. I have to walk in it and just have faith that it'll be all right. And so that's what I'm doing. Probably not transferring in, just going directly. It's more practical considering they have my major, but it's scary for sure. But I don't feel as scared about it. And let me talk about the school. Now, obviously, with the school, everyone has all these different opinions, and people tend to, you know, see Jerry Falwell Jr. and be like, what was that? You know, and think he's so crazy and has made such a bad reputation for himself that, sorry, I shouldn't call him insane. That's still rude, but not a good person. That people don't even take a chance to look at his source, his father. And I'm not coming out here to bash Jerry Falwell, but just look it up. I'm not going to say too much about him, but he was somehow for segregation in the early days, and not the college, but the private school was opened to further delay integration into his school. Obviously, Virginia was a southern state, so they were more, racist. But I don't know if he ever reformed or changed his ways. Obviously, he was also quite a bit homophobic and just had a lot of controversial and not great things done and said in his life. Kind of sucks, I wish the school hadn't been founded like that, but just because the school was founded by a man like that does not mean that it is a bad school. The school has diversified and grown so far that I think the newest statistic, it's like 55% white, which is almost half. It's not half black, it's 10% black, and then Latino, Asian, and I think the biggest percentage is like unknown or two or more races. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, it is the biggest Christian school, so I guess that's what you'd expect, but it's a lot more diverse than what you'd think, and people are always like, it's just a bunch of white people, but it's not. And nothing wrong with white people, but diversity is very important to show that, if there's not a lot of diversity somewhere, that means you're not putting in a lot of effort to get that diversity, or that you don't want it. The graduation rate is pretty low, like scarily low, concerningly low, but me and my mom were figuring that probably has to do with the fact that they have a large percentage of online students, like I think 100,000 online students or more. So obviously online students, some of them are only taking a few classes and then going somewhere else or transferring in or taking longer than 4 years to graduate, because the graduation rate is based on 4 years. It's not based on 8 years or 6 years or however long it takes you to graduate. So I'm pretty sure, like 90% sure, that it has to do with the online students that are bringing that rate down. Dang it. I don't know if there's anything else I have to say. Obviously, it's a Christian school. They're going to follow the Bible, and so that can make some students feel excluded, unfortunately. I think you know what I'm talking about. I don't know why I was so afraid to say it. LGBTQ students. That's it. That's who, unfortunately. But there's no discrimination permitted or allowed towards those people. I think it just has to do with dating. But it still kind of sucks. I think they could do better, and I'd like to try to help. Dress code, I think, is extremely unnecessary. I don't know. Like, I feel like obviously you should not be dressing too revealing, but like, come on, not allowed to wear shorts or sweatpants in class. Dress code only applies to class, so I don't really have a problem with that. But at the same time, shorts? Come on. It's August, September. People are gonna be hot. My gosh, but you can wear like capris and stuff. Capris. You also only can wear like one-piece swimsuits or tankinis at the pool. And then the other thing was curfew, which again, seriously, I think the curfew should at least be like 1 or 2 a.m. There should still be a curfew just to keep your students safe. But yeah, like 1 or 2 a.m., not 12 a.m. And then like one day it's 10:30 because they want people to be in campus community. I'm not a fan of that, and maybe one day they'll change it. I think even Cedarville has a later curfew. In terms of like political views, I think the new president is a little bit more political. Not that he brings political people in, but he wants students to be very active in politics. And as they should, students should be active in politics, but it's just dangerous in that you might be swaying their vote. I think you should vote based on what you think God is telling you to vote for, and make sure you're voting for biblical standards, but also make sure that you're not just voting for people and for parties. And the school is more conservative. I don't think it's only conservative, and there's multiple different political parties of students represented there. Also, when they do have politics there, they try to have not just Republican or conservative leaders, but I think it leans that way. I'm not going to disclose my political views, but actually I am. I'm in the middle. Why not? And I'd like to see people not glaze over everything and try to not just go by party and go by issue and try to understand other people that are not as much like them. and understand where they're coming from and why they believe the things that they believe, and how can we advocate for people while still being like Christ. And then the other thing with COVID, I think only nursing majors have to get vaccinated and all the teachers have to get vaccinated and wear masks, but students don't. I'm vaccinated, like I mentioned, so I don't know how that goes, but I think they're pretty safe. I mean, they haven't really had any outbreaks and they have places to put students who have COVID, but there's not like frequent testing. So that's one thing, but I think it's not as big of a deal because as long as a lot of people are vaccinated and staying safe and hand washing, not getting too close and stuff, it's fine. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, there's no perfect school, and I'm pretty happy with the school. I like the school, and I would like Christian schools because I feel like it's safer, and there's downsides to it, but there's downsides in every school. I was gonna go into, like, people were talking about how when you go to parties or something, like, if there's any assaults made or something and you were drinking, sometimes the people who are victims get penalized for drinking because they've broken the Liberty Way, even though they also should be fighting for the person who hurt them. And I think that's a law that Liberty needs to change. Like, yeah, the students aren't allowed to drink, but if they got hurt, if they got physically harmed and trauma, you should be talking to the person who hurt them and not the victim. And as long as they know they broke the rule and shouldn't do it again, they shouldn't be punished for it. The other people should be punished. But that's it. I'm done with my rant, okay? I still like the school, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And yeah, that's the end of my rant. Everything else, there are people coming in. Like, no matter what, excuse me, screw you.